So we're going to start the export, and remember you can go to File and Export Media, or as I always do, use the shortcut Control M. Again, remembering M stands for Mixdown. I'm going to turn on video. I don't know why that's defaulting as turned off for now, but I mean, it's quite obvious when there's no video in here that we're not rendering video. And we're going to go to CBR20 as we have done before. And now, remember we were looking in captions before and this was all grayed out. Well, we now have options. And what options do we have? Well, we have none, to do nothing with the subtitles, and I promise you at some point you're going to render out with all the captions, get a full render and go, oh, I didn't do anything with the captions. So you're gonna have to come back here and do it again. Promise you, when you do that, think of me. So we've got the export options as create a sidecar file or burn captions into video. So those are the two things we were talking about. Sidecar file makes it an SRT file that is going to sit alongside the actual video that can then be used when you upload. And you can include SRT styling if you wish. Again, we haven't set up a style because personally, and this is a personal thing, but I like to try and force it on everybody around me, SRT styling should not be applied. You do the default for SRT. One, because people are used to the way in which subtitles are shown, and two, if you ruin or you change up the style, that can ruin the way in which a media player reads the sidecar file. Don't take your chances. Just literally don't include the styling. So now that we have the option chosen of a sidecar file, and what we're going to save this as is, we're going to say char outdoors number 1. I'm just going to leave it as that, and I'll explain to you why very shortly. But first I'm going to select that text and I'm going to copy that just so I don't have to type it out again, and I press save. So this is going to be the video which has a complementing sidecar file with it. But we also want to export this or render this out with hardcode subs. So rather than exporting, we're going to queue. And as you can see, if I bring in Media Encoder, we now have added to our playlist to render out is right here, char outdoors number 1. Done. It's now custom because it's not just CBR20, it's CBR20 with the fact that we're rendering out an SRT file. We're going to go back here before we start the render. We're now going to render this out again or queue it out again with hard-coded subs. And this may explain why I didn't include any kind of description of the captions in the old one. Because rather than having a sidecar, we've still got it here. We've got the captions already up. Yours may just start like this and you have to come across to captions. And we're going to say burn captions into video. This changed up a little bit, but now we can actually see that because that is on the base export from this video. And that's now going to burn the captions in, so it will always show regardless of what format and what platform you're playing it on. We're going to go in here and we're going to set the file name, but we're now going to put a parentheses. It's used quite a lot in editing, and it's a square bracket, and I'm going to put in here subs and close parentheses, and that just literally states that this is the version with subs. Because if I hit save and I queue this one out as well, if you imagine if you're looking at these two in a folder, this one saying subs will show that it's definitely got subs in it. This one doesn't have subs in it, but it has an SRT file. That works twofold, because not only do you have an SRT file or a sidecar file to be able to go up with it, but also this can be pushed out on its own without any SRT file, and it's just a standalone video. So the way in which you title your output can really help with your workflow when you're pushing out video versions to different areas or to different clients. So let's hit the playback and start that render. And as you saw, once that first version was rendered out, it starts with the next one. It's brilliant, this media encoder. And now, once we're done, we can just click on one of those and it will open up the file manager, which is right behind, with what we need. And what we have here, although we only exported 2 files, 2 videos, we have 3 files because we have Char Outdoors #1 with subs. So if I double click this, when we think of I use VLC player, by the way, outdoor cooking, we think back to nature. Log file, let's just mute that out for a moment, and you can see that these are running hard coded. If I right click and go to subtitle, there's no option in here to turn off the subtitles. They're in. However, if I go back to this and double click on this version, we've got subtitles playing. However, if we go to right click, subtitle, subtitle track, and disable, we can turn them off. That working in there will confirm for you that will work online playback depending on where you're using. And if I select that again, there we are. So we've created a video that you can toggle on and off your subtitles for, and that will work perfectly in pretty much every single online platform you want to play this. VLC is very clever. If you haven't got it, you should get it because it plays pretty much every single video type anywhere. And the beauty of this is the reason why we didn't have to right click subtitle and add subtitle file is because the subtitle file is in the same folder as the video playing. So it automatically searches. The minute you start a video, it automatically starts and searches in that folder for an SRT file. It's funny how these things work in the background, and until you learn about them, you've got no idea, even though they're always running all the time in the background. So that's how to export hard-coded and a sidecar of subtitles.